So, if you go onto the SkySports F1 YouTube channel, you can scroll down quite a way. You have to scroll down a long way, and eventually you will get to all of the videos that they've got that relate to the 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. And I'm going to play you a selection of them now. It's probably only about half to a third of the videos that they put out, but this is just some of them that I'm just going to put out in this block, and then I'll put others out in another block. The thing that you need to bear in mind before you watch these, just understand this. The rules, the sporting rules of Formula One are very easy. The technical regulations, how the cars are designed, what they must conform to, and all the technical spec of the car is something that many of you won't understand. Okay, unless you're actually an engineer, you probably don't get it. But the sporting side of it is very simple. Now, the reality is, in the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, with the crash happening so late and with the leaders having lapped cars that were further down the field, in order to resume racing, the unlapping procedure had to take place. The lapped cars had to be released by the end of lap 56, and that was the only way the race could resume, because that's the only way that lap 57 could be given to those released cars with which to attempt to catch the back of the pack, enabling for lap 58 to be a racing lap. If that could not be accomplished by the end of lap 56, it was a safety car finish, guaranteed. There were no other alternatives. That's the way the rules work. They work on the grounds of sporting fairness. You can't do it any other way, because these rules are known to all the teams. Teams will make their strategy calls in accordance with the rules of the sport. So if anybody explains it as simple as that to you, then you can understand what's going on, and you can understand, what needs to happen. What you would like to see from the sport is, well, show us the state of the clear-up, show us what's possible. Is it possible to begin this procedure on lap 56 so that all of those lapped cars can be released by the end of lap 56? You didn't get to see that. You didn't get the commentators telling you that. You never have. Instead, you get what they're going to say now. So I'm going to play you what Sky Sports, the so-called experts of the sport, these people that are presented to you as experts of the sport, former world champions, years and years of experience of explaining to you this sport of Formula One. And you do not get that information from them. They lie to you. This is where the damaging thing is. Now, we can look at the comment sections of my videos alone, and you can see that, let's be clear, and some people might be offended by the term, but the truth is they are retarded comments from individuals who just do not get it. I'm not going to argue with these people. There is no point in arguing with morons, because even though you can be right, and in this case I am, you are not going to convince them that they're wrong. They're adamant that they're right, even though their opinions are moronic. So it is futile engaging these people. But this is what has partially been done to them. Partially they've got themselves to blame because they're ignorant, but partially they have been lied to, and therefore that's the damage that has been done. They've been lied to by the media, and that has conditioned their beliefs. And there's the damage. So I'm going to play you these videos, and I will analyse what they say in separate breakdowns, but this is just a playthrough of what Sky Sports broadcast to the audience. Now, how far reaching around the globe this went, I do not know. The global audience was reported to be 108.7 million people. 108.7 million people. Now, if that's the scale of what they were able to influence, that is truly disturbing. Anyway, there's going to be about 5 or 6 videos now queued up. In fact, there's might be 10 queued up. There is 10 queued up. Let's have a watch through of these. Here we go.
it has left Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen side by side. Hamilton will be ahead. Verstappen is absolutely desperate to get on with this on that soft compound tyre. We're going to have one lap of racing to decide the championship in 2020.
And remember, this lap should not be taking place. It is illegal. The commentators aren't calling out that it's illegal. Instead, they are telling you just how exciting it is, what it is you are now about to watch. Here we go.
21. Hamilton has the advantage. Verstappen has the faster, fresher tyres. And we have got 3.2 miles of racing action all the way to the checkered flag as the crowd roar the drivers on to the final lap of this race, and Verstappen sets after Hamilton. Is it going to be a first World Championship for Verstappen? Is it going to be an 8th World Championship for Lewis Hamilton? Where can Verstappen try and get past Hamilton? First overtaking zone is normally down into turn 5. Is Verstappen far enough back? He's going to make the lunge down the inside. Hamilton sees him coming. It's a late lunge by Verstappen, who takes the lead of the race. Verstappen now snatches the championship trophy from Lewis Hamilton, who's trying to fight back.
No DRS for 2 laps, so Lewis Hamilton will not get the rear wing open. Now he's going to go down the outside. If Verstappen keeps it tight and neat, but he hasn't, he's gone a little bit wide.
This race that started with controversy is ending with controversy.
No, Mike, that was so not right.
Here comes Lewis Hamilton, though, down the back straight. He's got a slipstream. He almost touches Verstappen. They almost make contact into turn 9. Verstappen stays ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Of all the drama, of all the controversy, of all the magic moments in Formula 1 in 2021, it comes down to this. And at this moment, it looks like it's going to go the way of Max Verstappen. Mercedes not happy. Red Bull will be delighted. They have shared a brilliant championship battle, but the championship can only be won by one, and it's going Dutch in 2021. Max Verstappen, for the first time ever, is champion of the world. Lewis Hamilton finishes in second place after leading for so long, but these last moments are going to be talked about, and this might not be the end of the matter, because Mercedes are furious as much as the Dutch fans think it's fabulous.
Oh my God! Yes! Oh my God! Yes! Yes! Oh my God!
Who you got to work with when your eyes are closed in the forest?
Who you got? William Hill. It's who you play with.
Max Verstappen, you are a Formula 1 world champion.
It's unbelievable. I mean, throughout the whole race I kept fighting, and then of course that opportunity in the last lap, it's incredible. I'm still having a cramp. But it's insane. It's insane. I mean, I don't know what to say. These guys here of my team, and of course Honda as well, they deserve it. I love them so much, and I really enjoy working with them already since 2016, but this year has been incredible.
Christian said with 10 laps to go, you might need a miracle to win this championship. You got your miracle.
Yes, finally a bit of luck for me. Yeah. Insane. I also want to say a big thank you to Checo. I mean, he was driving his heart out as well today. It was great teamwork, and he's an amazing teammate.
You've given us the most exciting championship this year, yourself and Lewis. This year will go down in history as one of the best ever, and you came out on top. If you got a message for your team, for all the fans here that are supporting you?
Well, to my team, I think they know I love them, and I hope we can do this for 10, 15 years together. There's no reason to change ever. I want to stay with them for the rest of my life. I hope they let me, but yeah, it's insane. I'm so happy. And also, you know, Christian, but also Helmut, you know, trusting me to be in the team in 2016. Our goal, of course, was to win this championship, and now we have done that.
Congratulations, Max.
Thank you.
Thank you. Lewis, It's been an amazing season to watch for everyone, for the fans of Formula One. Whether you're a Max fan, whether you're a Lewis fan, it's been one of those seasons that's gone down to the wire, to the last lap of the race. It didn't go your way, but you must be proud of what you've done this year.
Yeah, well, I mean, firstly, a big congratulations to Max and to his team. I think we did an amazing job this year. My team, everyone back at the factory, all the men and women we have and here worked so hard this whole year. It's been the most difficult of seasons, and I'm so proud of them, so grateful to be a part of the journey with them. And yeah, we gave it everything. This last part of the season, we gave it absolutely everything, and we never gave up, and that's the most important thing.
You obviously started a little bit on the back foot at the start of the year, but as you said, you guys worked together. Very strong end to the season. Didn't quite go your way, but I think we've seen the best Lewis Hamilton I've ever seen, and you seem very confident in your ability to come back next year and fight for that crown again.
Yeah, of course I've been feeling good, great in the car this past couple of months, particularly at the end. If I'm honest, you know, we were still in the pandemic, and I just really wish everyone to stay safe and have a good Christmas with all their families, and yeah, we'll see about next year.
I feel it's one person has to win the World Championship, but I feel you deserve something this year, mate. That was an exceptional year, so congratulations.
Thank you, man. Cheers.
Who you got?
All right, 4 of the drivers that unlapped themselves have had their view on Max becoming world champion.
Well, I mean, what a crazy end to a crazy championship. I mean, until the last race, in the last lap, it's unbelievable. But I think it's the best that F1 could ask for. I think it's great to see that, and congratulations to Max. He's been incredible.
Like, I'm not too sure what was said from the FIA. Like, you know, at first we weren't allowed to overtake as like the back markers. So if that influenced decisions to Mercedes and to Lewis, and that's the reason they didn't do the pit stop. But then the FIA suddenly changed their minds, and then they were allowed to let us past. Then yeah, then that's where I'm not so sure. So I'll just say congrats to both drivers, Lewis and to Max. Of course, Max won, and congrats to that. But in terms of decision, yeah, for a turn like that, I'm not so sure.
I think they've both done amazing, but there had to be only one in the end, for sure. He didn't fight with the same weapon. In the end, he didn't have new tires. You know, it's a gamble on both sides in terms of strategies, and yeah, in the end, it hasn't been a forward straight fight, but you know, it doesn't take off all the great drive from Max, so he deserved the win.
I was not following the race too much, but when I unlapped myself, was 2 laps to the end. And I had Lewis in front and Max like 4 cars behind. So obviously a surprise now to see the reverse order on that classification. But you know, I guess it was an epic race, epic championship. You know, to have the 2 contenders tight on points in the last race and fighting wheel to wheel in the last lap of the last race. This is something unbelievable. So well done to the sport in general, and today to Max.
Yeah, and confirmation of that protest is just dropped right now. Protest by Mercedes AMG Petronas, the Formula One team, against car 33 for alleged breach of Article 48.8 of the 2021 FIA Formula One sporting regulations. That's all it says at the moment. I think the catch-all is that they're protesting the outcome of the race, obviously after what we've just seen. Just a tweet from George Russell that's just dropped. Max, an absolutely fantastic driver who's had an incredible season. I have nothing but huge respect for him, but what just happened is absolutely unacceptable. I cannot believe what we've just seen. Obviously, George Russell is leaving Williams. He will be a Mercedes driver next year. But look, this is absolutely split down the middle here. You can see why the management have buried themselves away, because they believe that the result is unfair.
Who you got to work with when your eyes are closed in the forest?
Who you got? William Hill, it's who you play with.
We are down to the title decider.
Max is a fantastic driver. He's phenomenal.
We're in the lead of the championship, and we're going to fight till the end.
Here we go then, this is it. 21 races down, 1 to go. Not a solitary point separating Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen.
I've prepared in the best way possible. Then it comes down to just doing what I love doing most and give it everything.
Start is important, but also the rest of the race. You know, a lot of things can happen, and I really expect a tight battle. But yeah, looking forward to it.
It's lights out, away we go, and Hamilton gets a decent start, and he's already ahead of Max Verstappen. Hamilton leads into the first corner. It is a dream start for Lewis Hamilton. And there, Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton almost coming together. Hamilton has to go off the track. The Dutch fans roaring in the background. Lewis Hamilton in the lead, but will he have to give out the place?
Yes, of course he will.
Yes, he get that back.
Finish me on track.
Yeah, copy. Hamilton out in front. Will he have to give the place back, or will he keep the lead? No investigation necessary, say the stewards.
He's a great laps, Lewis. Just keep it up. Just keep the pressure on.
As it stands at the moment, Lewis Hamilton would be an 8th world champion. Perez will stay out and will go on to take the lead of this race.
Okay, Hamilton's pitted. Plan A.
So he is going to hold him up just that little extra bit. This is a very, very good tussle here. The gap now coming down between Verstappen and Hamilton. You can see him right in the background. Hamilton needs to get past Perez here. He does get past.
Red Bull and Verstappen don't have an answer to Hamilton and Mercedes' raw speed. I see no option but to put out a virtual safety car there.
Nerves on the pit wall at Mercedes. There are nerves on the pit wall at Red Bull.
They need to be Schumacher-esque qualifying laps now. Banzai, flat out. What jeopardy at the end of this Grand Prix, the end of this World Championship.
So this field has to bunch, and then they have to send lap cars through.
Why aren't we getting these lap cars out of the way?
Christian, just give me a sec.
And it's ending, wow!
One lap of racing to decide the championship in 2021 as the crowd roar the drivers on to the final lap of this race, and Verstappen sets after Hamilton. He's going to make the lunge down the inside. Hamilton sees him coming. It's a late lunge by Verstappen, who takes the lead of the race. Down the back straight, he's got a slipstream. He almost touches Verstappen. They almost make contact. Max Verstappen, for the first time ever, is champion of the world.
Woo! Yes! Oh my God!
They are absolutely shell-shocked at Mercedes. Verstappen and Red Bull celebrate a championship under the lights in Abu Dhabi.
I love the footy.
Gotta be rugby.
Golf.
It's the boxing for me. I absolutely love the darts.
Check out our huge range of sports markets and daily offers. Love sport?
Betfred.
In-store and online.
We've all been sort of rushing around trying to figure out what the next steps are. An element of guesswork at the moment, but what can you tell us about the next steps, Craig, from your imagination?
Well, I think I'm in for a potentially very long night here, Simon, unfortunately, and possibly a day tomorrow as well. So the situation is, both teams, as you know, were summoned to the stewards. Then they were given a little bit of a break, and they were instructed to come back and get their evidence together, and we've just obviously seen Christian Horner and Adrian Newey go in on Red Bull's behalf. So this is a continuation of that earlier meeting. But I think the timeline is significant, just to be absolutely clear about this. So we could have a decision from the stewards whether or not they uphold or don't Mercedes' protest tonight. Mercedes would then have license via FIA protocols to go via their appeals procedure, but only until Thursday, as I understand it, because the prize-giving ceremony at the FIA to crown the world champion is a cut-off point for all of that. But there would be further recourse via the Court of Arbitration for Sport, so potentially this could go on and on. Mercedes brought Paul Harris with them specifically for this Grand Prix because they thought there could be some kind of difficult issue, regulatory issue to untangle, and they do think the more serious of the two matters they have protested is this issue of the protocols, the sporting regulations not being followed. They just simply think that final lap shootout that we had should not have occurred.
There are a few journalists up and down this paddock that are saying mistakes were made upstairs. I mean, you have to take into account, I suppose, and I'll just put this one back to the drivers for the moment before I come back to you on this one, Craig, that they're under a huge amount of pressure. I mean, of all the times for this to happen, right at the end, within the last 5 laps of this entire season, I mean, you're going to have your wits about you. As Martin was saying, there's a book this thick, and if you don't know it to the letter of the law, I know these guys study it all the time. It's an incredibly difficult situation for them.
Yeah, we were saying that it's such a difficult weekend for Michael Massey, but it's his job, so he should know the rules.
Of course.
And he wanted to get the race going, to have one last lap, because it is a sport, and he wanted it to be decided as a sport, as them competing rather than behind a safety car. But as we've seen, the regulations say otherwise. He wasn't able to do that.
I think key to this possibly being dismissed on Mercedes' side is how much discretion Michael Massey has personally to make these calls or to judge when a situation is right or wrong within the framework of the rules. And I think that's what we could end up with this evening, that he has enough discretion as the race director to make those calls.
And presumably, Craig, he's going to get some serious backing from FIA lawyers here too, because it is their reputation here that is at stake a little.
It's a black eye for Formula One, this, if we don't get a decision, certainly tonight. I mean, this has been a huge global event, the eyes of the world on it. The one thing, as you've kept saying, we didn't want was a confusing ending and some kind of arbitrary situation where we're still waiting on an outcome. But they have to get it right at the end of the day. If this is the pinnacle of motorsport, they have to have referees and regulators befitting that.
So therefore, have they made a rod for their own back, really,
yes,
with the way they...
I think it's a huge problem, because I think that a company like Mercedes will say, if you are not going to adjudicate this sport correctly in the way that the rules are written, and you're just going to make up the decision at the last minute according to a whim, let them race or whatever it might be, then we're not playing.
Okay, we understand that Red Bull have just come out at the front of their home, and their head of communications has said, we're here to race. Mercedes are here to disrupt it with their team of lawyers. I'm praising what they're saying at the moment, but yeah, look, they brought a QC along because presumably they were concerned about this exact situation unfolding.
Yes, this is Paul Harris, who, by the way, represented them successfully in the 2013 tyre test gate saga. Remember when they had a private tyre test with Pirelli, and that was protested by Red Bull, in actual fact, amongst others. But in the end, Paul Harris was able to negotiate a fairly slight punishment for Mercedes at that time, found them guilty of no deliberate wrongdoing. But yeah, let's see what happens tonight. Might we get the ultimate decision deferred till tomorrow morning? Because both sides have to present their evidence, it has to be considered, and then I think quite a precise verdict and explanation of that verdict will have to be written up. So I think that's a process that could take a couple of hours from here.
Okay.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. We pay out before the game has even finished, thanks to our unrivaled early payout offer. Just back a team to win, then as soon as they go 2 goals ahead, your selection is a winner. Check out our early payout offer and see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365.
And there is Max at the gates of hospitality, Dr. Helmut Marko. And I'm just scanning my phone to see if the official document has come through. And obviously that tells you all you need to know. Relief, Max? How relieved are you?
Very.
You should have had to go through this.
It's a very stressful day in general. So
what are you going to do now?
Have a tiny drink.
Enjoy it. Well, there you have it. He's going in to celebrate. Max Verstappen going in to celebrate with his team.
Look, it's been an amazing year. We're very, very proud of Max. I'm incredibly proud of the whole team. He's the world champion. He's a deserving world champion. And Max is driven with heart, with passion, determination. He got a little bit lucky with the safety car tonight, but he had to make it pay. And the strategy, we didn't want it to end in the steward's room, but they've come to the right decision. We're grateful.
Mercedes have issued something called a notice of intention to appeal. which is the first step in opening or trying to take this case in front of the FIA's Court of Appeal, and it gives them 96 hours to make that submission. So they've bought themselves some time to think about it, to decide if they want to take it any further. Lewis Hamilton has left the Yas Marina circuit in the last few minutes. This was him leaving. He let us know he didn't want to say anything, and he strolled out with his media officer and got in a car and has driven away from this circuit. But the way he conducted himself tonight, I thought was fantastic, and that's the way he always does. He was first to congratulate Max, and he took the situation with great equanimity. I've spoken to his father, Anthony Hamilton, who also didn't want to speak on camera this evening, and said, we carry on, that's what we do, we'll hold our heads high and we'll carry on. But it's a bitter pill for them tonight, because Lewis was the boss in this race. He was well clear, he was the quicker driver, he was 8 seconds ahead of Max Verstappen. It was a series of unfortunate events in terms of how his race unfolded that deprived him of the World Championship this evening. But that is motor racing. It's unsatisfactory at times when that kind of thing happens, but it is par for the course. And over a long season, over 22 races, to a degree, these things even themselves out. And a lot of happy Red Bull staff leaving at the moment. That party will go on for some time, but you can't begrudge Max Verstappen. And if Lewis Hamilton can't begrudge Max Verstappen, I'm sure few will. He is the champion tonight, but let's see if Mercedes take this further. They haven't issued an appeal. They've merely, just to be clear, bought themselves time to make that appeal. They've got 96 hours now, so until Thursday, to formally protest what the stewards have decided tonight.
Now, Craig, is this 96 hours that we're hearing about, is this because on Thursday that is when the official prize giving is, and beyond that they cannot then further appeal the decision? Is that correct?
The 96 hours is standard. It's a coincidence that it chimes with the official prize giving ceremony, which Lewis Hamilton, by the way, would be expected to attend as the second place driver in the championship, and Valtteri Bottas in third place as well. Mercedes winning the Constructors' Championship this evening, but no celebrations here for that. The 96 hours is standard with a notice of intention to appeal. Now, after Thursday, they can't do anything within the FIA system. If they wanted to, they could take this to the Court of Arbitration for Sport. However, I haven't heard a great deal from Mercedes yet in terms of gauging their appetite for all of that. So let's just see what happens. I'd say more likely in the next 24 to 48 hours. But it may be that they read what the stewards have come up with, which effectively is, as we've all observed, hands a degree of governance over the rules, or even leeway to the race director, as opposed to the actual letter of the regulations themselves. That is something which will need looked at and examining post-season, because I think it's left a lot of people unsatisfactory. One or two insiders at Mercedes say, how can you have a race if you're not racing to the rules as they appear in the code? And that's what they feel has fallen by the wayside and cost them tonight.
Craig, I want to ask you about Toto Wolff, because we've heard from the parties involved at Red Bull, which you would expect. We've just seen shots of Lewis Hamilton there for the first time. Toto Wolff seems to be particularly elusive. When reading about the steward's decision as well and who was summoned, the parties involved in that second protest, on behalf of Mercedes, Toto Wolff wasn't there. Ron Meadows, Andrew Chauvelin and Paul Harris. On behalf of Red Bull was Jonathan Wheatley, Christian Horner, Adrian Newey. Can we read it into anything about the fact that Toto Wolff wasn't there, and where do we think he is, or what do you think his state is?
To say tonight, I'm bitterly disappointed for you, but nothing. Well, there he's gone now. I'm just turning to him. He's shaking his head, and he's left the scene without saying anything, with his wife, Susie, there as well. But you can see he's not happy, and I would gauge from that there is a seriousness to the rather more seriousness than I had just intimated to you, that indeed Mercedes might take this further, because Toto Wolff is serious guy, and Anthony Hamilton's just leaving the scene. And I'll say goodbye to you, Anthony, at least anyway, and look after yourself. But I know he doesn't want to speak, but lovely to see you as always.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. We pay out before the game is even finished, thanks to our unrivaled early payout offer. Just back a team to win, then as soon as they go 2 goals ahead, your selection is a winner. Check out our early payout offer and see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365.
Let's get plenty more reaction on this. We're joined by SkySports' very own Johnny Herbert.
Okay, I'm going to actually end this one here, and I'll record the next video with these studio interviews. Now, it might well be that this video either fails to upload or very shortly will get blocked because it contains so much footage from the Abu Dhabi race. So only time will tell. And I will go back and break down each of those videos. But actually, well, if those of you that understand will understand the lies that you've been fed in each of those interviews and clips that you've just seen. But like I say, I will come back and go through each one of those. Apologies for all them betting adverts. They were the ones that were just being played by YouTube in between each of those videos. And I apologise if those same style of betting adverts appear on my videos. That's not something I would wish to push upon you. Sadly, that's the world we live in. But the channel is gradually accumulating, hopefully what will be enough money to raise the court case that will be raised. Anyway, thank you for your time, and that will do on this one.